are live. Hello and welcome to Developer Insights. I'm David.
And I'm Justin.
And together we are the leads on game development and design here at Codename.
Well, not only that, we also founded Codename too.
That's true. We're going to be your host for this episode and for every episode.
Because when we're not here, like last week, the show doesn't happen.
It's true. It's true.
Yep. Oh yeah, today is our 132nd episode.
Feels prime-ish.
It's even.
Even so.
And if you add up all the digits, you get a number that's divisible by 3, so it's got at least 2 and 3 as factors.
Oh, okay. You don't have to show off.
And the last 2 digits are divisible by 4, so that means it's also divisible by 4.
It's not divisible by 5, though.
No, that's true, but because 2 and 3 are factors, it is divisible by 6.
Wow. What about 7?
What
about 7?
We don't talk about 7 around here.
Oh, well, as should, we shouldn't. As not. As should, we should not. That one.
Anyway, today we are here to answer development and design questions about idle champions.
Is this all because of last time when we made fun of your map?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I saw that coming. Anyway, if you don't ask any questions, however, you may have to suffer through Justin's one-man reenactment of 7.
Hey, I said we don't talk about 7.
No. I mean the 1995 film starring Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and Kevin Spacey. Not the number.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. In that case, I can easily do a one-man reenactment of that.
Great.
What is it about exactly?
I don't know, but can you tell us what's in the box?
I don't get the reference. I don't get the reference.
All right. As always, we have pulled forward some questions from the previous show that we didn't get to, and so we will answer some of those while we're waiting for new questions to come in. But before we get to those, I do have some updates on items that we flagged to get looked at by the dev team. So without any further stalling for time, let's get started with those. Let me see what we got here. There we go. The doc did eventually load. Yeah, actually, the first item on the list here, I think you should describe, Justin.
Sure. Yes. So we got asked a couple streams ago, or maybe it was last stream, it's been a while, how effects like Selice's Shield of Psychomancy, which causes hits and armor-based enemies to take double or triple hits from all attacks, stack with other abilities of the same type, like Humans destroy twice as many segments as you otherwise would. I wasn't sure, and we asked Peter about this 2 weeks ago, I guess, and he looked into it between then and now, and apparently they stack multiplicatively. They multiply. So,
like bunnies.
Yeah, it turns out, if you got a whole bunch of people who destroy armor-based or extra armor-based or hits-based chunks, you might be able to just one-shot armor-based enemies, I guess, if you had enough of them. Wouldn't be that many that you would need to do 50 or 100 hits. So, new meta.
Who knew?
Yeah. Now we're gonna make
everybody now apparently.
We're gonna now that is out there. The next campaign is gonna have all armor-based enemies with 50 hits each. So it's gonna force you into that meta, or else you won't be able to progress. But yes, that appears to be the way that it works.
Promises. Okay. All right. Addition to that, I do have an item here on the in-progress list, and I know we had a number of reports about issues on iOS that have been coming in over the last couple of months, specifically in regards to higher than normal crashing rate, which we did look into, and we did find that that is in fact the case, and there are a number of memory improvements that we're in progress of making on that. I don't think Peter has a build ready quite yet, but it's very close with a fairly significant improvement on that, and that should run a lot better on, I want to say older, but older is kind of a relative term given that the iOS devices that sort of had about 2 gigs of RAM were still in production about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, which in my mind doesn't quite qualify as an older device. But a lot of improvements coming there, so stay tuned for that if you play on iOS. It'll also impact Android as well, but I think they had generally more memory in their devices than iOS, and so less of an impact on that. Announcements. There's no announcements.
There's no announcements. We have no announcements. Aside from that announcement you just announced about
there being no announcements.
Memory improvements in progress.
Well, we can consider that an announcement then.
You've announced that those are in progress, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get to
I don't know.
leftover questions from the previous show. First one in the list here is from Meow Arf Moo, asking, can we clear all the formation or all the familiars by holding F and clicking the familiar hand icon Jimmy Jammy? Or saying we can clear all the familiars by
Yes,
doing that.
we can.
Can we get a similar action to autofill/place familiars into all 6 attack slots and other auto-populate familiars onto all current/active placed characters too? So I guess they're asking for the option
Little
to just
hotkeys. To like, if
I
you go
see.
like Shift F and then click on familiars,
It fills
it'll
up
fill all of your attack spots, and Control F on the familiars will find your favorite familiar, and then Alt F
for.
well, what does that do? I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. It really this and a couple of the other questions that I've seen so far. We got a question like a month or two ago where someone was like, "Hey, like, are you going to make it so like increases to the area cap or the soft cap are like hidden behind some sort of overarching goal in the game?" And it really made me think if I could go back in time and like, you know, make Idle Champions 2 or you know, go back and hit myself on the head a bunch of times before making this game, I think we would have it would have been cool to have some sort of kind of progression system that
Are you
unlocked
suggesting that would
features
make
of
it
the
better?
game. If we hit myself on the head a couple of times,
Before you made it.
maybe I wouldn't have made Briv so OP. But
Guess we'll never know.
I don't know if that would make it better or worse. But
Dear Lord.
yeah, I mean, these would be cool features that like would unlock after you like complete some sort of in-game quest, right? Like maybe we could tie that to guide quests in some way, or collection quests. After you get a certain number of familiars, these features unlock or something like that. I don't know. There's some cool stuff there, but yeah, those are interesting ideas. It's just a question of how we do it such that it wouldn't be confusing for all the players who didn't know exactly how to do it. Like, you know, like a lot of our kind of hidden hotkeys are.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like something like that might be better served by just like being able to click on it and have like a fill all, like, you know, fill all information slots, fill all hero slots, fill all, just rather than having to click it over and over again. It seems like just a one click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can also, I mean, to a certain extent, you can load formations, and those will load in the saved familiars as well. So it's
Seems like it's a minor quality of life improvement.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Oh, I think this is referencing. Is this referencing the hopping?
It's the sliding characters. Yes, but you can ask the question and give some
Sure.
context.
So the Solar Bear asks, can we see that early animated version somewhere?
The early animated version being, we mentioned a couple of streams ago. Maybe it was last.
It was
last stream.
stream,
That's why
yeah.
this person asked this.
Yeah.
So it was last stream. We talked about how way back when we were just prototyping the game.
There was no animations.
There were no
Like
animations.
no walking animations on the
for any
characters.
of the
We had
characters
stills.
or the monsters.
So
And
we
they
made them
just,
hop,
yeah,
sort of back and forth, wibble wobble, wibble wobble.
they
I don't know if
wobbled
that code
across
is
the
still.
screen. I think it's still in there. I think if you put a single, I think
You
it's
think you just
actually
give
if
it a
you
single
put
graphic,
a
it
single
just- it
frame
just
in there.
defaults to
I think
that?
it does that. Yeah,
It could be, yeah.
But I thought it'd be a fun thing to do as like an
April Fool's joke?
thing or something. Yeah, where it's
Easier
like,
than putting top hats on everything.
well, now that we've got that code, it's not that much
Yeah,
easier.
that's true.
But yeah, that'd be really fun. It was a really funny version of the game, and I'm mildly sad that it
Didn't go that way.
yeah. Think of all the art resources we could have saved. We could have had so many more monsters.
Oh, Garwa is saying my mic is cutting out at funny times.
Is it your mouse again?
I don't know. I mean, we'll adjust that and see how it sounds. Okay.
Okie dokie.
Let's see. Next question. This one is from Cassius335 asking Lego skins when?
Yeah, this is a fun question. We like when D&D kind of announced that they were doing those crossovers with Lego, and we're doing like some Lego sets, D&D Lego sets. We were like, ooh, that's really cool. It'd be really cool to do Lego skins.
Just don't step on them.
Yeah, when they die, they like fall apart into pieces, and all the monsters that walk over them take damage, like caltrops. Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be really cool. I'm not sure what's involved in like licensing stuff for that. I don't think we got very far on that. We kind of assumed that it would be egregious.
They need to be legally distinct colored blocks.
Yeah, they're not Lego. They're
colored children's construction blocks. Yes. With little triangles on top instead of circles. It'll be fine.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, they stick together with triangles.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would work.
Poorly.
Especially if we'd have to name them something else. Lago.
Yeah.
And they make your
Oh, no.
your frame rate go down when you have them in.
We don't need Lego for that, or Lago.
All right, the last question that we've got from last week's episode is from Mandalore Ghost, who asked, can you guys release a 3440 by 1440 screen resolution for the game?
3440 by 1440. Is
need
that some sort of ultra wide? What is
super
that? What's
wide-
the aspect ratio on that one?
That is yeah, it feels like two 4x3 monitors.
It's a
8x3.
UWQHD. What? Stop making up terms.
No, it's not. Google's not going to do math for you, man.
There we go. 2.38. This feels like the opposite.
Other way around, yeah.
1.4 or 0.4. So it is a weird aspect
It's a
ratio.
weird aspect ratio, yeah.
Okay.
21 by 9.
21 by. Oh,
That's
so
what
it's
I
an
was
ultra wide.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So when do we get the ultra wide screen? I think we have backgrounds that don't actually
there's
fit on
that's
that.
what I was going to say. There's actually a problem. Like there's a technical problem with that, and that is that a lot of any of the backgrounds that are fully static
Yeah.
often don't wrap properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that said, you can go into the config file and set your resolution to that manually. If you just
It'll
go
just
to the
be a
game
little
folder
bit weird,
and go to
yeah.
the settings.json, and you'll find a resolution tag that's in plain text that you can just change the resolution to whatever floats your boat. But I'm not sure that we would add a resolution selection that the game doesn't technically support.
Yeah, I don't think we would. We definitely wouldn't. We'd have to find some way to make the game support that before we.
Yeah, I
before
know we
added
did
something
for a
like
lot
that.
of the black background, or for a lot of the backgrounds, we did try to get the seams to merge even if they were a special case.
Yeah.
And I know for a lot of the ones that do have like an element that sort of is anchored to one side or the other, we do handle that properly.
Do we still do that?
Oh
Or
yeah.
We didn't get lazy about that.
Well, okay.
I know when
We
we
used to
released,
do that.
we did that.
We did
yes.
that. However, there are definitely some early on ones too, I know, that do cut off.
Yeah.
And there's a weird seam if you're wider than that, which is the case on some phones. Some phones do have a really
Right.
wide aspect ratio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably yours. Yeah.
Probably mine.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the questions from a last show. Let's get into the new questions.
Alrighty. This first one's yours. This is also from Meow Arf Moo, who asked, in the potion manager, are there any plans to make it easier to apply, for example, 1 hour across each type of whichever potions, instead of clicking 1 hour of potions 20 times? I know you can hold Control and click to preload 1 hour of potion, but it would be nice to click and apply once instead of so many.
Yeah, I mean, that's a question.
So basically just click and hold,
Clicking
and
and hold
applies 1 hour of every type
across
of potion
everything.
instead of just one at a time. So you want to add 20 hours of potions, you have to do it 20 times on health potions, and 20 times on damage potions, and 20 times on speed
Click and add.
potions, and 20 times on, yeah.
Well, that's not entirely true. There's only 4 potions you can add time to, right? The 5th potion lasts the whole.
Well, that's true.
So.
Oh yeah, each type of potion, each size of potion, not just of all the sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good question. I mean, we don't have plans at the moment to add that particular functionality, but it is something that we could keep an eye on for and see if it's like a commonly requested item. As we've probably said more than enough times on previous shows, certainly that we have a triage list of what we think are features that'll have the largest impact to the largest number of people in the game. And so, while this is certainly an interesting quality of life improvement there, it's probably not going to hit the top of the list at the moment. Let's see, next question. This is from Rough Rider 1995, asking, why is Freely unable to count adventurous tail stacks in a background party? You know, isn't this one of those ones that
Yeah, so I highlighted this one.
It's supposed to work?
Yeah,
it is work. People keep telling us it's fixed.
Peter's been looking into this one, or was looking into this one earlier this week, and as far as he could tell, it was working during his test. So we need to figure out what exactly it is that causes it to not work for
certain
for
individuals.
You guys, it's weird because it is literally every time he tries to test this, it's working.
And it's
for
come
him.
up over and over and over. And every time we get Peter to check it, he says, it works,
He says
guys.
it's
What are
working.
you talking
and
about?
every time we go back to the community, they're like, it has never worked and never does. And so it's like, this is one of
we
those.
need to cut out the middleman, and Peter has to talk directly. It's
Yeah,
funny
we'll
because
get Peter onto Dev Insights next.
I literally popped up to look at the Discord the other day, which is not something I spend a lot of time in, but I was there for maybe 10 minutes, and I saw this particular issue reported. So
I will highlight this one in yellow. We can give it to
Peter
Peter
a hard
again
time.
tomorrow, and I can do a one-man show of what his reaction will be. It'll be like this. I tried it. It worked. What do you want from me?
That sounds like Peter. Okay. Next question is actually not a question. It is a statement from Emote saying, "I just wanted to say thank you for all the optimizations that the team implemented recently. The game is running so much faster now. Thank you." Yeah, I think Jarrett was working on optimizations for quite a long time.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
And I think they ended up on because there was some concerns around potentially introducing some new bugs because of how sort of deep some of the optimizations went. I know that sort of sat on a branch unpushed for several weeks after that.
Can you explain what that means for people who aren't computer software developers?
Which part?
Sitting on a branch for weeks without being pushed.
Sure.
Because I know what you mean.
That's true. They can
I
imply
know all of the Git console commands, definitely. But
so the way the development team works on the game is that we have a central branch, the master branch, which is
what's a branch?
All right.
Simpler
than that. We have code go in a hole.
No, not that simple.
All right. Now I don't know where to start. How far back do you?
Just like what is version control?
All right.
And then you can explain what a
control.
branch is of that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So when there are multiple different people working on the same code, all of that code needs to be able to have some way of syncing everyone's changes together. And so typically you use something that's called a version control system. We use a system called Git, which is
I don't know what it stands for. What does
I don't know what it stands for exactly, but it is a
I don't think it stands for anything.
Often we have a love-hate relationship with Git. It is a bit of a difficult, can be temperamental. So maybe the name is aptly chosen. However, so the way that it ends up working is we have a branch, which is a set of all of the code,
A copy of
the code.
Yeah.
And each individual developer checks that branch out and can make their own branch, which is a copy of the code with their changes in it. And so we have a central branch, which is called the master branch, which is where which is what gets compiled and turned into the game that we release to you. And each developer works on their own, and then as the changes are approved and checked through QA, we then merge those back into the master branch. Typically that's done by one person. Typically Peter does that. And then that gets pushed out as features to you guys. And so when merging those back in, there's always the risk that something actually, while the code might actually be valid code, doesn't necessarily work with the pieces that are there. And so we have to actually be careful to make sure that when we merge those changes back in, that everything is still working and there are no unforeseen consequences because of that. And it can get to be a bit of a trickier problem when a large number of sort of system-wide changes are made, and often things that impact performance can end up being system-wide. And so a lot of the stuff that Jarrett was working on were more system-wide changes, and as such, there was quite a bit of trepidation from Peter wanting to merge those changes back into the main branch, which of course resulted in him hesitating to do so at key release moments. So, new champions, new features, and so that did end up being delayed for quite a number of weeks until we had thoroughly tested all of those changes and were confirmed that they were not, in fact, causing issues on the main branch. And I do think that there were some pieces that went in that when they did hit QA, they did break something, which caused further delay on that. But that's all merged in and working now, and hopefully that all made sense. And I did a beginner crash course into version control,
We could talk
which
about
I was not
version
prepared.
control. We could talk about that for a very long time. But I figured, while I was going through highlighting questions, you could give them some developer insights, actual developer insights, and not just, whatever it is that I provide to people.
Designer insights?
Designer insights? I don't know.
All right.
Strong word.
Insights. That's the word, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. This one is also from Emote, asking on behalf of Arandram, why do every single one of the alignment changing feats have a comma after the lawful chaotic axis, but before the what is that?
General Electric.
General Electric. Good evil
There
axis.
you go.
Why is
It's too
How
hot.
do I know what the alignments
here
are?
right now.
It's like, how do I not know this? This isn't an Idle Champions term. This is just a D&D term.
Yes. So why do the alignment changing feats have a comma after the lawful chaotic axis, but before the? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably just a text, like some. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll look into it.
It's a serious issue, I think.
What, the acronym thing or the comma thing?
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, next question here. I'll ask you this one because you get some purple ones sometimes.
Perfect.
Loopy79 asks, currently, if you start the game and it either crashes out or you manually kill the load before it finishes calculating offline progress, a box pops up asking if you'd like to skip calculating this time, assumedly the next time you load the game, not that time. Can we get an option to have that box pop up every time we start the game? When I'm restarting in order to activate a new game version, I'd rather just jump straight into the game rather than waiting to calculate offline progress that will likely only result in 5 or so gems. So basically a permanent option to just skip offline progress. I think it's I think it could be super useful, but I also think there could be some issues with it. Like when somebody accidentally clicks it and misses out not just on 5 gems, but on 5,000 gems.
Yeah. Part of me wants to say we had a hotkey for that.
Really?
Do we have like a click?
Somebody in chat is saying
have a
that
click
there's
and hold.
a space button, hitting the
Yeah,
space
it could
button.
be. I know we put something in, and I don't know if it was labeled there or not. But I remember
secret hotkey.
being
How could we?
Well, I believe it was for testing this particular feature,
Ah.
and it was that if you click and you just hold it down on launch, and it'll skip offline progress. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure we had something like that.
Yeah, it feels like this is something that I think hidden behind randomly holding down the space bar is one level of obfuscation. I think we could, there was a suggestion in chat there to have an option in the option menus to ask about skipping for offline progress. I think having an option that you could enable would feel better to me than just always having an option there. Because new players would,
So I see in the chat a question that got censored by MooBot, which was someone answering what Git stood for, and it said that because it was created by Linus Torvalds, saying that he'd named it in British slang. It means an unpleasant person, and he'd named it after himself. And in fairness, Git is rather unpleasant, so I think it is an aptly named tool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next question. This is from Emote. I noticed the pack shop tab has new filters for items included in them. Can we also get a toggle filter for whether the pack includes a Gem Hunter potion, please?
Wow, you read a comma that wasn't there. Yeah, I haven't seen these new filters. I saw someone working on them, and I was like, those look really cool. But then I haven't actually pulled them up on the live game. I don't know. I'm gonna highlight this in yellow, and we'll see if Peter thinks that would be an easy thing or a hard thing.
Okay.
But yeah, we were doing a little bit of a filter pass, I think, on various places.
Yeah.
We got to do that. You know, ironically, I was finishing off.
This better actually be ironic, Justin.
Well, I don't know if it's ironic. Coincidentally, speaking of filters, I was doing my pass. Sorry, I was channeling my inner Eric there. Speaking of filters, I was doing my finally getting around to doing my full pass of the collections dialogue recently. And I noticed that all the filters we have in there are like so much worse than the filters we did in the Champion Select. And so it's like, damn it, we just finished this feature, and now I feel like we have to go back and like reskin the filters and like have them match the Champion search thing.
This is the fidelity problem, right?
This is the fidelity problem. This is exactly the fidelity problem. This is the case where your game only looks as good as the worst looking thing part of it, or worst looking part of it, right? So we do this great champion search. There's all these amazing filters, and now all of a sudden
all the other filters dialogue, they pale compared to it.
Prior to the collections dialogue, our filters were even worse, and having the filters in the collection dialogue, we were like, look at all the ways you can filter these things and like find exactly what you're looking for. And
listen,
now,
those were dark times, and we don't want to speak of them. This is like the number 7.
We do not talk about the
there
number
you go,
7.
See?
I will terminate this stream.
Dark time. You don't have the button for that.
I can. Is this a touch screen?
No, it's not.
Dang it.
Good thing too, actually.
Yeah, I would have just turned on some image.png. Oh, it's probably the pips.
Yeah, it's
the rarity pips underneath us. Anywho.
Okay, next.
That was great. Okay.
This one is from Loopy79. Can we get item rarity widgets displayed in the event window, both the main window and the select a new champion to unlock window? It wouldn't matter for new players picking how new champs to unlock, or for endgame players with all champs already unlocked and epicked out, but for mid-game players it would be handy to see the rarity of all available champions gear at a glance, so they can factor that into which champions to unlock.
Yes, so not exactly this, but one of the things that we have flagged is to do a sort of filters and sorts on the select a champion list, so that you could sort the flex champions by sort of average rarity. I'm not sure if that would include displaying the average rarity on them, or you just have to trust us that we looked at them all and calculated it correctly. But yeah, we do want to make it easier for people to kind of pick champions that are going to be good for them based on whatever criteria they think is best. So putting some filters and sorts in there is a between medium and high priority. I think I put it on the to-do list. Not my to-do lists, the development to-do lists, which I put together earlier this week.
.tng. Oh, that's an interesting format. It's episodic, I think.
Love myself some TNG.
Okay.
I should be watching TNG right now.
You can watch after the stream.
I can
Not
have.
during
You know
the
what? I
stream.
can have the questions here, and then I can have the chat here, and I can have a little TNG window, playing like one of the good episodes.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I could just randomly laugh and be like, "Is he
It'll
laughing
just
at
be
chat?
normal.
Is he laughing at the questions? Is he laughing at the hijinks of Data
Trying to tell a
become
joke.
a human?" Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that too.
Okay, next question. This is, oh wow. So all of them. No. There are some really bad episodes in there, especially the end of season 2. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of skippable episodes in the
Season
first
2.
season. In the first season and the second season.
The last
and
episode's a clips episode. How do you do a finale in the, no.
they're running out of money, all right?
Yeah. Okay, next episode. No, next question.
Next episode.
This is from
Episode
OG17.
8. Was that the one where Tasha Yar gets eaten by a tar pit?
Might be,
Spoilers.
actually. Which did not last long. Okay, sorting time gates by popularity gives unintuitive results. What does this show? Does it contribute to character rework popularity, like Xander is top 30 priority, and Stokey, Paulton, Viper, Ishii, Morgaine, etc. are above him? Are we just seeing single players chaining those gates?
Yeah, so the time gate popularity is, it's literally just, it looks at what people have opened for time gates specifically in the last, I don't know, I guess a 3-week range or something like that. And it just orders by the number of gates open. So yeah, if people could potentially manipulate that if you got a lot of time gate pieces. It's a little bit weird because those kind of feel like those are in release order. So it's possible that if you're ordering by popularity descending, or whichever one would be the least popular ones first, that they could potentially all have like 0 popularity, basically. If no one's opened a time gate for them in the last 3 weeks, then they would probably show up in ID order, which is, it sounds like those are. It could also be that there's some sort of bug or it broke and it's not working anymore, and now they're just in ID order. So I will flag this just to take a quick look and verify that it is still working. I would be very surprised if like Xander, Stokey, Paulton, Viper, Ishii, etc. were in the top 30, because there are definitely far more popular champions than them.
Now, of course, speaking of time gates, that's one of the optimizations we've been working on for the iOS improvements. And the time gates now loads immediately on the first load, where there was actually like a 3 or 4 second delay, and it was just because of the way it was loading the graphical assets.
Wow.
So Peter redid the way that's all displayed.
Great.
So
do the collections dialog equipment window next.
Okay.
Boy, oh boy, did that chunk when I was doing my review of that one. The other question that's in here is, does it contribute to character rework priority? And no, we don't use the time gate popularity for that. For determining sort of popularity for prioritizing character reworks, we actually just use literally what champions are in people's formations in a snapshot of time. So we just, that's what we look at for that. And we kind of, we do some finagling on the ranking based on sort of how many people have the champion unlocked. So if there's a champion that, it's basically by the percentage of people that have that champion unlocked is how we kind of rank them. So if there's a champion that 50% of people have unlocked and 10% of the people are using it, then that would be equivalent to a champion that 100% of the people have unlocked, but only 20% are using them, because it's the same percentage of users.
And we know your math is perfect.
And my math is, I think, was okay. It's not really a Dev Insight stream until I try and do math live on stream. So
Justin's like, let me tell you, 1 out of 5, it's the same as 2 out of 10.
That checks out.
Perfect. Okay, I think it's your favorite time, though.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our world famous, stream famous, once a stream, once every week when we're here, giveaway. And the way this works, if you haven't been in our chat before, welcome, first off. The way it works is very shortly, sorry, I've still got popularity sorting on mine. Very shortly, there will be a keyword that will be placed in chat, and all you have to do is copy and paste that back into chat, and you will be entered for a chance to win 42 chests of your choice. You win them, you pick them. It can be any type of chest that exists in the game. So it could be, except for Gloria Bahamut chests. So it can be just regular gold chests. You could do gold Umberto chests, gold Aeon chests if you wanted some ones from this event. If you wanted ones from the next event, you could get some gold bleep chests. Sorry, I had to self-mute myself there. But yeah, so please enter. And we want to give you 42 chests of your choice. What are some other types of chests?
I mean, my favorite type of chests could be the yeast chests or the jelly chests. I do like a glazed chest. I'm a big fan of the Boston cream chest. Okay, that might have been a little too easy. Of an old-fashioned
donuts.
Chest.
There we go. Monastic coffee, and then everyone else. Too easy.
So. Yeah, I shouldn't have. It was a freebie.
You're out of practice.
I know.
After your week off.
Maybe I just was hoping for Boston cream.
Are there any interesting? Maybe you just need a
Cider.
donut. Can I go get you a donut?
I mean, sure, but after the
All right.
stream. No, you can't.
So long, everyone.
Yeah, you heard me.
I
Okay.
got my
Let's
mic
see.
on, so I can just answer questions while I'm walking over to
For
Timmy's.
a few hundred feet, then that would be it. Yep. Okay.
Alrighty. Let us continue on to some more questions.
Next question. This is from Emote. The gem drop chance from bosses is currently assumed to be 1d6 plus 3 with a 5% chance to be multiplied by 3, and then gem hunter blessings applied after that. This results in a 1.15 gems per boss on average without blessings, or 9.15 with. Do you know if this is accurate?
No, I don't. I swear we've talked about this before.
I
but
think
do
this is
not-
very close.
I think it's very close.
But I don't think that first chance, 1d6 plus 3.
I don't think it's a
that's
1d6.
right.
I think it's a little bit tighter than that, but I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure.
Yeah.
It might be like a 1d4 plus 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
I would have to. I don't have the Git repository checked out on this computer, or else I would look it up in the actual code.
I mean, I do.
Do you?
Maybe.
All right. Well, then go into user handler, find
Okay,
the
classes.
boss, drop, chest, whatever function.
User
right
handler.
there.
Yep. What's it
Yeah.
called?
I don't know. Get boss loot or something like
Find
that.
get boss loot. Yep. I see it.
That's, yeah. Okay. That's just a sec, folks. We're
See,
looking it up
find.
for you live. All right.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so this is all the fixed stuff for the first few areas.
Okay.
Here it
Soft
is.
currency. Random between 4 and 9. Is that inclusive?
Yeah, M2. So yeah, so it's 4 to 9, and then there's a 4% chance to multiply by 3, and then it adds any reset currency bonus from blessings,
Increased
and
boss
then
gems.
it multiplies the whole thing afterwards by any potions.
There we go.
Bam. So 4 to 9. I mean, that's
4 to 9
Is
with
that-
a 4%
that's a-
chance of having it multiplied by 3.
is that just a d6 plus 4, or a d6 plus 3?
4 to 9.
Yeah, that's just a
Uh,
d6 plus 3.
Well, there we go. So they had it.
Yes, you got it. That was correct.
You
It's
got
a
it,
4%
dude.
chance to be multiplied by 3, though, not a 5% chance.
Is that?
So that is, you are very close.
Yeah, it's between 1 and 100,
Yeah.
less than 4, so just 4%, not 5. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is the gem equations not 6 to 9? Because it's 4 to 9.
Yeah. Anyway, next question. This is from Weffen. Any progress on the change of DM from selecting one unavailable champion in the game to selecting the whole specific seat to unlock? Would that be in a full rework or just a change to DM randomly one day?
Sorry, they said in chat they're saying why is it not 6 to 9? And I said because it's 4 to 9, and Garwar said 6 to 9 is nicer.
Yeah.
I get it.
Nice. Okay.
Kids. Okay, so this is the question. The question that you asked before I got distracted by
Oh my.
69 was about DM selecting an entire seat. Yes, so this is something we want to do. We haven't made any progress on it, but now that you mention it, it could be a nice thing to put into a particular update that I'm thinking about that you guys will definitely have some concerns about. That it'd be nice to have some nice things in there for you. So yeah, it's still on the list, and I can think of a great place to put it. That sounded weird. Okay, the next question is from OG17, who says, the 5.8.3 performance update for mass buying character upgrades is a massive improvement. Is this anything that might be applicable to the poor performance seen when tanking enemies?
Sorry, I was just reading the chat. I shouldn't do that. So the performance update that improved the performance on mass buying character upgrades had to do with some of the redundancy in calling out as the upgrades were applied to various sort of the things they're telling about the upgrades that have been applied, which is unfortunately not connected to It's a similar type of issue, but it's not one that could be improved in the same way to the tanking of enemies. And that's typically because changes in affect bonuses that are impacted by a large number of characters. When one dies, the numbers change, and then if the next one dies, the numbers change again, and those numbers actually have to cascade down properly, otherwise you actually would get an inaccurate result. So I know we've talked about trying to combine some of those at sometimes, but we have never been able to come up with a way that either is close enough or that wouldn't leave us concerned that you would lose some of the bonuses that would occur as the cascade goes down, as the number of monsters, for example, does get killed one at a time, because it does then change the way the math works.
It feels like there should be optimizations there, because say you have 100 enemies attacking your tank, and your tank has an ability that's increase the effect of their buffing ability by 100% for each enemy that is attacking them. Stacking, however, if you do an AoE strike and you kill all those enemies at once, it would kill the first enemy, then it would decrease the buff. Then would it recalculate the damage, and then hit the second enemy, and then recalculate the buff, and then hit the third? That seems super unnecessary in that kind of case. It seems like you just want to kind of apply the damage to all of them and then recalculate after it's all been applied.
I think that in those cases, I think the damage has been calculated. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that when you do kill the monster, then the cascading event from that triggers out to everyone who's listening to a monster killed event. Yeah. And there's not a good way to filter on whether or not that killed event should be sent or not, depending on which target effects that's going to end up affecting, if that makes sense. Yeah. So we could, if we knew that it wasn't going to impact anything else, and we could probably sort of wrap those all up or cancel them, but then there's some other impacts on that, because you wouldn't get killed. You'd have to gather up all the numbers that were maybe we'd have an interim step where those got aggregated by another function,
added into a kill queue, and then once
and
all
then
the
that would
effects go
get
through,
crushed into something and then fired off. Maybe that's a solution.
The only problem there is there could be a situation where we actually have an ability that's designed to do something after each enemy dies. There are actually there's ones that cause enemies to explode when they're killed, which can then deal more damage to other enemies, which that needs to fire off as each enemy is killed.
It's a problem
because it would then cascade in. So
one size fits all fix to those. So
that's the problem. Yeah, Foolish Genius 89 in chat says complex game is complex.
That's a fair point.
That is true.
Okay, next question. This is from OG17. Modern event variants are often character stats in formation. Character starts are often character starts in formation and can't be moved or removed. Could these become movable? Being locked in place doesn't play well with save formation, since the game isn't smart enough to place blocked characters somewhere else. And so you end up making a near identical variant-specific save that keeps needing Modron and hotkey adjustments.
Yeah, so I think in general, I try to avoid the can't be moved ones, unless it's a champion who we're trying to teach you specifically how to use them. So if we've got a champion that buffs adjacent slots, sometimes we'll put them into, generally if we have a champion who buffs all adjacent spots, we will put them in we will build their formation such that there's a 6-slot adjacent slot, and then we'll put them in that slot and we'll say they can't be moved for the first variant. And then after that, maybe we'll let them be moved. But there might be some, we don't always catch those, because I think kind of the default case is to do the can't be removed, and I think the can't be moved sometimes sneaks in there with copy and paste issues, and then we don't notice, and then devs are like, okay, don't want it moved or removed, no problem. So we can try and be a little bit more careful about that, and make sure that there's not cases there where we're not trying to teach you something, but we're just not letting you move the champion because we're being mean or something.
Yeah,
so, I can flag that one and make sure we note that.
All right. Next question. This is from Anime Watcha. Any chance of multiplicative gold find champion?
Yeah, I highlighted this question, and I'm a little bit confused because pretty much all champions or all gold abilities are multiplicative. So I'm not entirely sure what you're asking for here, Anime Watcha, because yeah, like all gold effects are multiplicative with your stuff.
With your stuff.
With your
Okay,
gold,
very articulate.
with your gold find, like overall gold find multiplier. So. Multiplicative stacking. I mean, I feel like we do have pre-stack. So like a pre-stack buffed by equipment gold find. And we might have one of those coming out soon. I know we have a rework for a gold find champion coming down the pipe, and we did try and make their gold find abilities pretty up. So maybe.
All right. Next question. This is from Foolish Genius 89 asking, could there be a way for you guys could telegraph when previously exclusive feats become available for gems? It doesn't have to be ahead of time, but a notification or a changelog note would be nice.
Yeah, this is something we've talked about before. I think we've talked about ways that we can make this more apparent. I thought we talked about making sure we always had a changelog thing, and I remember with the stuff that went into the gem shop recently that I do remember Dupuis reaching out to Peter ahead of time being like, hey, I got a last minute changelog thing. So I don't know if that actually did make it in or if it was too late to make it through, but yeah, we'll try and put them in the changelog whenever we can, whenever we remember to. The notification we did talk about, so we've got that pop-up that pops up when we've got like new DLC or a sale going on, and we talked about potentially putting new gem shop things into there when we add them to the gem shop. And I think the system mostly supported it, but not quite 100%. We would need a little bit of kerfuffling to...
Kerfuffling?
That's the technical term. People are learning all sorts of things about development today. There's Git, and there's branches, and there's kerfuffling. Anyway, I think we could make that work with a little bit. But I think for now, we'll just kind of stick to trying to remember to put them into the changelog as much as possible.
Okay.
But I will highlight that and, make Peter and Dupuis feel shame as a minor action if they miss it.
No, just use their whole turn. Next question. This is from Mariner. All right. If you have a pushing team and a gold team, and one or more of the gold champs die, and you switch back to your pushing teams and finish the level, the gold champs are still KO. Why can't they, or other background formation saves within the active run, be healed after completing a level?
Yeah, this sounds like a bug.
Yes, I think they're talking about switching formations.
Yeah, well, I feel like, I think what happens is, so they, not even like switching formations, but just like you have a formation, some of the champions die.
Yeah.
You
swap to another formation.
Swap to another formation, go to the next area, and those champions that died in the previous area aren't automatically filled up to full health until you like change areas. And I feel like they probably should be. I can't think of any downside to having dead champions not get revived, assuming the variant, rules allow it, even if they're not currently in the formation when you change areas.
I mean, they're not in the when you put them into the formation. They're still. That's
I think they're still dead. They're just dead on your bench. So yeah, this feels like something we can probably look at. But do they count as dead for Desmond? That's a good question. I don't think they would count as dead for Desmond if they were just on your bench and not in the formation.
Does switching formations swap out dead champions if you're under attack? Or is this like a really odd edge case where you have to have had your formation, had some dead champions in it, and
I think you could probably use like an ultimate, like something to push back, like knock back or push back, like Ashara's ultimate for example, to
because I don't think you can swap out dead champions, right? Like Not when you're under attack.
I know you can't swap out champions that are under attack.
Right.
You can swap out champions that are before, that are behind the champions who are under attack. And so maybe once a champion is dead, they no longer count as under attack, and so you can. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff here. 7 years into the game.
I didn't think you
7
could do
years
that.
into the game. This probably has not changed in 7 years. But yeah, we can look into that because that's weird behavior.
Yep, they stay dead on your bench. Interesting.
I'll just highlight all of these in yellow.
Garhor says you can swap dead champs out, just not with a hotkey.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, where are we? Next question. This one is from Maxi Cubert. Why is Umberto's third investigation option, 24 hours, so much worse than the shorter ones?
It shouldn't be. Umberto's investigation options should give you a higher sort of clue stacks per hour the higher you go. So yeah, I think you get, I can't remember what it was. Is it two clue stacks per hour or one stack? It's one stack per hour with the 24-hour ones, and then 0.75 with the 8-hour one, and 0.5 with the 2-hour one. So it's more efficient to if you're going to do a really deep run and you want a lot of clue stacks, but it just takes longer to get you those ones. Yeah, the middle one is kind of if you're going to like go away overnight and you want to reset. You're planning to reset when you get back after an 8-hour sleep. And the 24-hour one is I'm going to go away for a whole day, and I want to have a lot of stacks when I come back. And then the first one is if you want to just I just want stacks now so I can reset in the next hour.
Okay. Oh, don't make me pronounce that name again.
Oh, okay, I'll do it. The next
Go for
one here
it.
is from Didaminiarner, who asks, can't there be an option that you can sort by favorites while giving blacksmith contracts? I sometimes have to search for ones I want to level by picture.
Sort by favorite. Did we add? No, we do have at least one. No, we don't have favorites. We have recents. That's what we have in the legendary upgrade dialogue, right? Is it the?
Yeah.
I think so. This is like harking back to the comments earlier about the filtering options being, pale compared to the champion search ones. Yeah, I mean, I do think that the blacksmith contract selection there could benefit from. I think even just a recents would be a solution, so that you can go back to the ones you've done. Like various, I think the legendary one has room for 5 or 6 at the top that are the most recent ones you've done, so you can get back to those. So, yeah.
Let us favorite champs, like in Bushwhacker 2 with the gear, trinkets, I assume.
Oh, is that something?
Bushwhacker 2, yeah, we did trinket sets, or Nick did trinket sets at some point
were
in the
favorites?
last couple of years. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You can favorite pets and mounts in Bushwhacker 2, and then they show up at the beginning of the list. Go play Bushwhacker 2. What a great game.
That's true. Everyone raid Nick.
Everyone, yeah, go load up Bushwhacker 2. Crash that server.
Don't do that.
If everyone from who's watching right now went in, I'd probably be able
It'd
to
be
handle
fine.
it.
It'd be totally fine.
Yeah. Don't test us on that, though.
Or do.
Or do.
Next question. Probably we have time for 1 or 2 more here.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all by all of them are by the same person.
Fewer Pills showed up later in the chat. I saw them show up late and spam like 3 or 4 into chat right away.
All right. Well, let's see if we can get through a couple of these then. Next question by Fewer Pills. With patron chores now available, or now actually having a use for Aeon, could Fen please
I'm
get
so
the
happy.
season strong heart treatment to work in all formations?
I'm just going to take a moment, bask in the fact that I finally made patron chores have a use. So yeah, the Fen season strong heart treatment is on the list. And I'm going to actually move that onto a list with the DM thing.
Hashtag justice for Nick.
Not a good use, but they have it. Oh, Fewer Pills. Why you got to bring me down like that? I was really happy, but now I'm sad again.
All right, next question. This is also from Fewer Pills. Can you please change Aeon's third variant to instantly unlock her debuff ability? Otherwise, it's super hard to start and impossible for players without a seat 1 debuffer. And by the way, even that variant doesn't consider Umberto to have a debuff, so he can't kill enemies there.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I saw someone in chat mentioning it not starting until area 10 or something like that. That's often what we do when we have something like that. Yeah, Garwar is saying that got adjusted to zone 11. Yeah, so that makes sense to me as a way to kind of get around that. So I think that is addressed. I usually don't like to unlock abilities right away unless there's some specific reason why we are. Maybe there is in that one, but I think the Zone 11 change fixes that. You should be able, by that point, by 3 variants in, you should have enough favor to unlock at least 1 debuffer champion.
Okay. And next question, which I think is the last question that we have time for, is from Fewer Pills. We've got 3 in a row there. Could you make it so the next upgrade option for buying levels instantly functions as the times 100 option once you reach the soft cap? It's kind of weird how hidden leveling past the soft cap is, especially because it's important for a bunch of champions.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That seems like an interest or an easy fix for that. I agree that sort of the soft cap, or being able to level past the soft cap, isn't readily apparent. I definitely see that question pop up on forums and Discord and stuff from time to time. So having something happen to the next upgrade, so you still know, the times 100 option, I guess, is an option. I don't know if I would go all the way up to times 100. I'm just a little bit worried about familiars, like spending all your gold when you have other champions that could still get upgraded to the soft cap. But yeah, something like that I think is not a bad idea. Maybe we make it an option.
Okay. All right.
Anywho.
Well, that is definitely all we have time for today.
Yes. If we didn't get to your question, do not fret. You will have another opportunity. We will be live again at this same time next week, assuming I don't crash my car into something on my trip. Before we sign off, though,
Why would you say that?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. Sure.
Before we sign off, though, we'd like to thank our tireless mods. Today it was Mars and Lauren. They're the folks who copy your questions into our questions doc and make things awesome in chat.
Yeah, and of course, thanks to all of you for hanging out, watching the stream, asking such great questions, and for enjoying the game, because without you, no one here would get to do what we do.
And we like what we do.
That's true.
I'm not going to crash my car.
Sure, just putting it out there. All right. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everyone. Oh, what do we have today? Oh, yeah. Did I tell you about my dog, Minton?
No?
Yeah. He was chewing on a shuttlecock.
Really?
Bad Minton. All right, that was pretty bad. I mean, I was going to tell one about pizza, but I thought it was too cheesy.
Oh my God, no. Stop, you can't have 2.